Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call to order this special meeting of the Commission of the Arts, Monday, September 12th, 2022 at 5:04 p.m. Let's have the roll call.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. I will call your name and be here your name to be present. Commissioner Schmidt.
Here. Present.
Commissioner Valenzuela.
Present.
Commissioner Redlands.
Present.
Commissioner Abraham. Present. Commissioner Leeds. Present. And Commissioner Hebert.
Present.
Let the record show all commissioners are present.
Let's all rise for the pledge. There's a flag over here in the corner. It's in the ocean. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Special presentations and proclamations. Tonight we have none. Do we have any oral communications?
We do have one, Carl Murphy.
The microphone's right over there.
Hold on one second, we're going to get you some volume.
For those of you who don't know, I've been since 1961, and I was in TV school at first sight because I went to elementary school. 1953 to 55, I caught isn't perfectly south, just like that. And it's potential, it's historic building. First, that was started taking it down. And then after that, I think it's okay. And I've been pretty much working toward that goal ever since. It's really nice to meet. We just went out of the office. We actually might produce something there to do very. We have a personal stake to be decided because my concerns for the city plan has been approved, which I have a copy certified, is that the opinions and the needs of the artists and people that are actually in there have been addressed in lots of places. The most important is in the room, which is West End, which they have turned into $1 million bathroom. And you know that each classroom is worth about $1 million. They have them, and then you've got the administrative area. So making half of that into toilets to me is really not acceptable to any of us, or to any artist that wants to work in there, and have a street of people coming into your space and you're working around the bathroom. And bathrooms, what's that? It goes to the machine. Bathrooms are cheap to make, it's easy. That school doesn't deserve bathrooms. It's got 3 toilets and a urinal, and it doesn't deserve bathrooms. The other thing about room 6 is that it doesn't have an exit door, and nobody likes to talk about shooters. The city didn't want you to mention it too, but the number one requirement of the building, you've got 2 doors. All of the others do. And I had suggested in a written commentary to the city to put a door between 5 and 6 because all of that counts in rush another room. And I think the importance of there are a lot of things you can do to stop shooting, but the buildings are really begin because that's where it all begins. And I think about airplanes where, when they talk about crashing, nobody wants to talk about shooters. It's crazy to crashing. But more people die from shooters than they do from crashing airplanes. And they've got exit doors. So you need to go to the exit door. You couldn't put it in afterward because all you need to do is go to the wall. And it hurts me to know this talk about shootings. I spent 3 years in almost every single day because I live by there. I have to tell a lot of people, almost people to leave, and especially military members are aggressive. One of them used to threaten me, saying, "Yeah, I have to set it alive." It's not like you're gun. So I'm talking tonight because these are what I call they're it shouldn't be part of the story. Part of the story with parts you just don't need to shoot down. It shouldn't be part of the story we should have that movie. And then the costume doesn't have we have your version of the classrooms. That does not match the version of the past. They should do the same too. You can't have these sort of competing plans going on, and people thinking one thing's one thing, one thing's not. So those are my main things. The other thing is that as the project goes along, I think we need to keep pushing for the things that we as artists and people who keep working there and spending time there that we need. The city did agree with active benches and bodies of the entities. We need those bodies because that's where people are coming in out of the classrooms. It's not like a school where you go at 8 and go up to 3. There are going to be people who are from 8 to 9:30. Others come in place table and sit. People coming out and all that stuff. The city did agree to have them taken out and then put them back, but the language isn't real clear in the document that they signed. It literally says to salvage the materials and try to make something to get the stuff back in place. It's really discouraging for me to have to be a person who corrects the work of people who work for me, which everybody in the city does, they work for all of us. And not all false, really like it, but if something comes up important, I will not let it go.
Next speaker is Rosemary Nicole.
I just want to be able to make a comment if that's what I thought that I was saying. The white speaker agenda item, if you want to speak to an agenda item, then you need the pink speaker. Did you do not want to address the commission? Not now. Okay. I just got here. The pink ones are for agenda items.
Are there any more oral communications?
No,
Thank you. Number 6, changes to the agenda. I don't believe there are any. And we'll move to approval of the minutes from the August 1st meeting. Second?
I second.
Yeah.
take roll.
Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't take roll.
No, we can take roll. We'll take the oral right now, if you're in favor of approving the August 1st meeting minutes, say aye or nay. Commissioner Schmidt?
Aye.
Commissioner Valenzuela?
Aye.
Commissioner Redlitzs?
Aye.
Commissioner Abraham? Aye. Commissioner Leeds? I was not present. Abstain. And Commissioner Adair?
Abstain.
All right, let the record show passes with 4 in favor and 2 abstentions.
Okay. And moving on to our action items, we have item 8A, which is the Pacific View Programming Update. Our recommended action and review with presented information, invite the public comment and provide feedback. And there have been at least 2 meetings involving commissioners, city staff, and some members of the public, during which we discussed programming. So pass it to Administrator Murphy.
I'm going to run through a quick presentation to give you an idea of what has been happening with this group meeting to do some brainstorming about possible programming at Pacific View. Just a quick overview. We started doing our program brainstorming over the summer. The projected award of construction will be this fall, with a projected opening of the center in summer of 2024. Really happy with it. So this information is from our planning department to help clarify the permitted uses for the zoning. So not only are we needing to work with what is zoned for the property, but we need to work with what uses are available because we are using the existing buildings. And so we run into some occupancy applications. So operations are limited to education activities only, such as art classes or art education. Occupancy of the building is Class A occupancy for training, skill development only, with an occupancy rating of 1 person per 50 square foot for classrooms and 1 per 150 for the accessory offices. And the city cannot propose any operations outside of that Class A occupancy, such as for assembly use. And that has to do with room capacities don't allow for a number that suits assembly use. So with this brainstorming, this is just an idea starter. This is looking at applicable uses and possibilities. This is by no means an exhaustive list. This is not a list of classes that will be offered. This is the brainstorm. So part of today's meeting is to invite the public to share if they have ideas that fit within those permitted uses that the group hasn't already thought of. So again, we're not taking any action, we're not making any decisions about what is and is not going to be there. This is part of just the brainstorming to look at what kinds of things could fit within the existing facility and within the permitted zoning uses. So here's visual art ideas, fiber art ideas, literary art, digital art, looking at the possibility of application lab, a lot of ideas about arts business and ways that artists might learn things to help in the business aspect of what they do. Performing arts. Performing arts is one of those areas where that occupancy becomes an issue because when people are sitting in a room, the occupancy is different than if they are moving around. So we have to be really mindful of what kind of activities are happening within these spaces. There's a number of ideas for music, for communication art, for healing art. There was an idea for a non-lending art library. My apologies for the technology there. So this is, again, not an exhaustive list. This is just a group of ideas that we thought of. in addition to these ideas, there were a number of concepts about inclusivity, including all different abilities, making sure that scholarships were available, expressing concern about making sure audiences who might need a scholarship could be aware of their availability and how to access them, and really reaching into a broad variety of demographics, age, interest level, and abilities. This is the most recent layout from the designer. This is part of what was approved on September 6th. And I know it's really hard to read, but basically it outlines some possible uses. And the reason that we started having this conversation now is as ideas are brought up about possible programming, it needs to inform perhaps what the electrical needs would be, what the floor coverings might need to be, power needs, venting, things like that. So things need to somewhat run in tandem as we're looking at ideas. Now, even if some of these ideas do end up becoming what is the programming when the facility opens, that doesn't mean that's the exhaustive list of what programming will be forever. It is a dynamic process and very much subject to what the public is interested in having there. If there's an interest in having a class, then that's likely, and if it's within the permitted uses, then that's something that's going to be explored so that will be offered. So that is the end. So I wanted to just share this to help everyone understand the goals of this brainstorming and invite the public to contribute to this activity.
We have 4 public speakers to speak to this agenda item. And just remember, you have 3 minutes to address the commission. So I'll call your name to go to the podium. First speaker is Renee Woodward.
Likewise, great.
We just need to make it, hold on, we're gonna give you some help. Hold on.
Okay, got it. Hello? Okay. Well, hello, everyone. I think most of you know who I am. I'm a Woodward, Encinitas Friends of the Arts. It's been something that I've been passionate about and I'm working with it. And I'm an artist and I'm a resident in Encinitas. I just want to support what was just provided for us, simply because, like many of you, I'm very passionate about this project. I've been engaged in doing advocacy and doing everything that I can to make sure this place becomes an art center for all of us. And it's going to be for everyone, young and old, able, disabled, and for the whole community. So I'm grateful for the city for taking on this task. It's not an easy one, and no matter what we do, there would be some conversations that probably we could do more. But I think we're taking good first steps, and this is a phase 1. And I know I'm committed to it on behalf of the EFA. We want to do whatever we can to do advocacy and do fundraising. Our role is basically to support the endeavors that has to do with the arts. I just wanted to, because I've had so many conversations and a lot of people come to me and we talk about the city view. I just want to make sure that we're realistic and open-minded and keep going back to our core beliefs. Thank you, Patricia, for bringing us to that point. We gotta have transparency, diversity, creativity, innovation, inclusion, all of it. So whatever we discuss here, you gotta embrace all those fundamentals. And I think, just as it was suggested, rooms need to be flexible. So many things can be done. There are only 8 classrooms. So we want to make sure we fit in as much as we can. And I don't think there should be any duplications. And we shouldn't duplicate anything that's already being offered in the community, because I think the folks who have been doing it should have the opportunity to continue to grow their And I really like the way we're ready to be open to cutting edge things that we can offer that nobody else has done and make this a jewel in our community. It's our legacy, and I've said that we all have been working so hard on this, and it's a really, truly a gift for the future generations. So with that, I thank you, and I'm in support of moving forward and having more, obviously, conversations about it. Thank you.
Next speaker is Patricia Fisher.
Hi, for you, those that don't know me, I'm Patricia Fisher, I'm a Cardiff resident. I'm also the founder and coordinator of the San Diego Visual Arts Network. It represents 2,500 visual arts resources in the county of San Diego. I've been thinking about the Art Center, like many of you, for such a long time. And in an overview way, I realize that we have to start to set a core set of values. We have to have a core set of objectives, a strategic plan. We have to have so many things put in place that I believe probably calls for a dedicated staff member, just as a head of the new Pacific View Art Center. So I wanted to get that sort of off my chest to begin with. I know we're talking about programming today, so I agree with a lot of the things, all the things that are on the list, and a lot of what Amy has said as well. I think it's very vital that the Pacific View Art Center somehow becomes a unique place. It's part of how we can brand ourselves and spread the word about the Art Center. And in order to do that, I agree, we can't simply offer courses that are already being offered, which is really not what we want to do. We don't want to be in competition with anything that's already offered. I think that would be a big problem for a lot of people. So another thing that we want to talk about is how do we get community input for a lot of these things? This one meeting is wonderful, and I know there are going to be many other meetings. We've talked about voting, having a wonderful open meeting about voting on colors for Pacific View. We've talked about offering salvage materials for recycling and upcycling projects. I think that would involve the community. I think it would be a good idea to do a particular survey that just went to schools and our older citizens as well, to try to generate some ideas about what they want that they're not getting right now. And I'd like to see a call made for new and unique class subjects. So I've been thinking about that part particularly, and I've come up with some ideas just to give you an idea of some, hopefully that would start to get other people to think about ideas for new types of classes. Wouldn't it be great to have a class on how to report on art events and then get those stories published? There's too few people talking about art and getting things published and spreading the word about art. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have a crossover garden design program with an environmental art component in it? Maybe even to help create a garden for Pacific View itself.
Thank you, Patricia. That's your time.
Is that my time?
That's your 3 minutes, yes.
Oh, it's just a few minutes, okay.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be great to offer a course
that was your time.
cosplay?
That was your time, yes.
In cosplay, because I think that would attract a whole new audience.
Thank you, Patricia.
And help them to build costumes using the tech lab. How to do a menu design project.
With respect, there's other people that need to use their 3 minutes.
See, I thought somebody was saying something, but her voice was so low, I couldn't really hear what she said.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your comments.
Garth Murphy, and so the sound that you hear at the end, that is the timer, just to clarify, it's not something called
What is it?
The timer, so the 3 minutes, you have 3 minutes to speak.
It's hard to hear from there.
Oh,
Yes, we can't hear the timer.
Okay,
sorry about that.
I could change the schedule like.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
I don't have that much to say, because I'm just so pleased that it's turning into a place where I just the city has a right to move the city that actually has concept produces and we have over our years that we have certain years with the cities designated operating by 3 years. We have a list of about 2,000 people that.
Sorry, can you speak up, please?
Yeah, we have a list of about 2,000 people that express desire to use this space, and we have 200 people that donated this amounts of money to the University of Yale, and just itching to get in there and teaching their art. So we're on the right trail, and I think we have 2 years to really move and work and get it all organized. My personal idea is to have a radio station so that we can play loud music without the bother. Play directly, we have virtual audience. You get really good musicians that play for virtual audience. So we can solve all the problems of the labor restrictions that there are not that many of them. Person around the parking lot that's pretty big is there. 200 cars, we charge $15 a car. And every car that pulled up had a friend and in a brochure that was beautiful. Oh, and I said, how cool. Capital gave us $20. Not one ever didn't stick up. But this was really the most popular thing that's ever been in the city. I think there really is no controversy about it, except elevators that things that change their lifestyle. And we've done 3 different surveys in the local city that asked what to do, and we all said, awesome. So there's no stop.
Thank you for your comments, Greg.
And last year's agenda item is on green football.
You have to speak in this, right in this thing, like you're eating an ice cream cone. I am so excited about having Pacific View be an art center. I think some of you know that it's been very, very high on my list since way before 2014, so it's been a long, long time. I'm going to live to 108. I'm 82 now, so I'm going to be here. And so the next thing on my agenda is 1% for art. So everything that's built, I love it. I love it. Everything that was passed by the Planning Commission, they got a permit, would be 1% for art. But I think maybe has some other limitations besides everybody's house having art like mine does. So let's do this, and let's do it right. Thanks.
Rosemary, could you explain 1% for the art a little bit for people who might not know?
Say it again.
1% for the art?
1% for art?
Yeah, could you elaborate on that a little?
On new buildings.
Any new buildings that are built in Encinitas, yeah, where the construction costs of them, 1% of the construction cost would be designated to have art in
that building, around the building, on top of the building, and
Any public city space.
or any public city space.
Thank you.
That's part of the budget of anybody building anything.
Yes.
I think it's commercial, but, you know, why not just say residential and commercial?
Choose a capital improvement, commercial over a certain.
Right. I got married in Barcelona. I've been there 8 times because it is such an art city. And I think that we just need as much of what they have in Europe here in Encinitas. Let's just cover the place with art. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Rosemary. Well, that does it for public comment. So it's time to move on to item 8B, the El Portal Mosaic Artist Recommendation. So we're to review the ad hoc committee selection and make a recommendation to the City Council to award the contract for El Portal Undercrossing Public Art Project. So I'll speak a little bit on the process that our ad hoc committee went through in selecting, and there were 2 submissions for requests for qualifications. Both were very impressive. We had the Vet Arts Organization, and we also had Campagna Studios. And our recommendation is that the city award the contract to Campagna Studios. And what I personally saw in that RFQ that really made them seem eminently qualified above and beyond was just the thought that went into how this art project that's going to be city public art and working with students to envision it and create it would be tied into the curriculum. And there was also a real mindset geared towards equity, so that kids who might not necessarily be great at creating art can all contribute in their own ways, with ideas, with thoughts, with words, with with using their hands in the way that they see fit. And I just really felt like this organization has the qualifications to get it done, and a really great plan to really make the kids feel, not just feel like they're part of it, but really be part of it and contribute as much as they can. And also they had a very, very qualified staff. Everybody on staff has lots of experience with ceramics, and the lead, Jeremy Wright, has everyday experience making ceramics with students. So it really just made them eminently qualified. And I would invite anyone else who is on the ad hoc who would want to add comments to what I've said here to do so at this time.
Well, we're gonna grab that, like, and we do final number 1 colors.
Oh, we do that? Okay, great. Well, yeah, if Kathleen wants to speak.
There's this La Campagna Studios is fairly new, and it was really exciting to have a group that was so well organized and already so experienced in dealing with students and with our history, which is all supposed to be combined together to come up with the artwork. And the artists and leaders that are doing it have no preconception about what it's going to be. It's all going to be generated by working with the students. So it wasn't just it was really exciting to have such a wonderful option to pick.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize that it's good art, but there's also skills in construction and managing the project. So public art is a construction project, no matter whether it's a small scale or very large scale. So we appreciated the expertise and the explanation, the schedule, keeping in mind the budget, coordination, and all of the elements that make a successful project.
Thank you. I think we have one public speaker.
I'm Jeremy Wright. I'm a school teacher over at San Vito, and I don't really have much to say except for thank you for considering our proposal on representing Companion Studios. I grew up in Acadia. I've been here since '69. That's when I was born. So, anyways, we're really excited about the project and excited about working with the kids. I have my assistant over there, Sophie Ruiz, who's also a high school teacher over at San Vito Academy. And I'm really looking forward to making this our art project. This isn't my art project or Companion Studios art project. This is something that really belongs to the community. And I'm really excited about it. I was a part of the Santa Fe Bridge project and actually working with Jim Gilliam and Tony Grant on that and actually making that a community project. That was never intended at the beginning. It was supposed to be one artist, but I like the idea of having many different artists involved in that and taking that same concept of the El Cobel project. So anyways, thank you again, and I'm looking forward to working on it. Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to move on to item 8C, Commission for the Arts Annual Work Plan, commenting on progress on. Oh, I'm sorry. Point of order. Oh. Right, sorry. I would move to make our recommendation to council to award the project to Companion Studios.
When I call your name, if you're in favor, say aye. I will question.
Aye.
Commissioner Valenzuela? Aye. Commissioner Redliff? Aye. Commissioner Abraham? Aye. Commissioner Lees? Aye. Commissioner Aguirre? Aye. Yes.
All right. Then moving on to 8C, Commission for the Arts Work Plan. So we'll be reviewing and reporting on progress where it's noted. So looking at number one, I just wanted to make mention that a new appointment for the Commission of the Arts will be made at I believe at the next state council meeting. So we should have a new member soon. And then on to number two, EFA will be addressed later on the agenda, so we will address that later. So assisting staff with Americans for the Arts reporting. I was unable to get that done during the Acadia Art Walk, so I'm just reporting on my failure to get surveys out, but does anybody else have anything for Americans for the Arts? Do we have any progress on the updated draft for the Arts Master Plan? Okay. See that we have anything on 5. And assisting city with the promotion of city arts and culture events. We do have an art night this coming Saturday. As always, we do need volunteers. If anybody's available, and I'll report that we have another full roster of musicians, and we're going to have a youth rock band showcase over at the community center for this one. Okay, so let's skip 7 and do you have any progress on public art? So we just heard our progress on the El Portal undercrossing. Is there anything on this?
We are looking at re-releasing this sculpture art, I believe, in 2023, and the Encinitas Boulevard project is still scheduled
Who would repeat that?
The installation is scheduled to be installed later this year on this fiscal hardware cost. Pardon me, so sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry,
The tentative date is October 17th, and if that should change, we'll be sure to let you know.
Cultural tourism, which number was that? Yeah, we can go back, sorry.
I just had I thought it was worth mentioning this okay.
Which number was that?
107 for
Number 2. Number 1.
So,
Oh, cultural tourism is number 2, sure.
yeah, so I was at the Cultural Tourism Committee meeting a few weeks ago, and I just wanted to mention they're rolling out this new calendar of events, which is pretty great. If you go to the city homepage and search on Cultural Tourism Committee, there's a link to this new calendar, and there's an event submission form. It's kind of streamlined and more dynamic, I think, than what was there in the past. And from looking at it, it's a really valuable resource. So I wanted to pass that along from that meeting.
Excellent, thanks, Jim. So, no report on number 9, just voted on number 10, so moving on. I don't know if there's anything for number 11. 12, having arts programs, researching the feasibility of new offerings. Does anyone have anything on this?
You have a subcommittee that's open up with this review, but I don't see it in the work plan.
Oh, that's right, we did. Didn't we bring that up last meeting?
I can speak to that, Commissioner. So the work plan is up to them, and it is approved by City Council. So the work plan only gets brought up one time a year for approval. When we have a specific item like Pacific View programming, we bring that as a separate item. So that item was brought forward, and you're right, we did inform a group that started brainstorming on that. So that's not on the work plan, but it's something that we'll continue to bring back to this commission to discuss on public side. As we do tonight.
It will be on next year's work plan.
You certainly could add it to next year's work plan, yes.
And then let's see, it looks like that's our work plan. Yeah. So, moving on then to informational items. Number 9A, Cultural Arts Division Report. Mr. Murphy.
In addition to all of the items we discussed tonight already, the AEP6 survey, the Arts and Economic Prosperity Survey, is moving along. I definitely encourage you, if you're at events and you're approached by someone who's asking you to participate in the survey, please do. It contributes information to the contributions of our nonprofits in the arts and what that puts back, the dollars that puts back into our community. We're moving through that will take place through April 30th, 2023. One other item is the visual art exhibition application for 2023 is coming up. The deadline for that is September 26th. If you know of any visual artists working in 2D or 3D, to encourage them to apply. That is all for the exhibition in there.
Right. B, the commission calendar.
We continue to have Wednesdays at noon concerts. Unfortunately, our musicians are human and sometimes come down with COVID. I have a great group of musicians to lean into, and we've been able to find replacements when that's happened most of the time. This past week on September 7th, that was the case. It was not our canceling of anything. I just wanted to clarify that we do our very best to make sure we are offering that program every Wednesday because it is widely popular. And the musicians often play to a full group of this room right here. Michael mentioned we have Art Night. It's coming up this Saturday, September 17th. It takes place at all 3 civic spaces, as well as a number of spaces around town. We are excited to welcome Institute of Contemporary Art to be at the community center this time. They, due to a conflict on their space, won't have activities there for this one, but are still participating as well as a number of other community organizations, and all of that information can be found on the website. Music by the Sea, the 22-23 season kicks off on September 23rd with Brian Woods, a phenomenal pianist. Tickets are on sale for that, $20. You get a view and an amazing concert right here in this room surrounded by beautiful art.
Number 3.
Yes, that's the calendar.
Oh, okay. And 9C, Encinitas Friends of the Arts report.
So Encinitas Friends for the Arts is continuing to work on the programming for Dia de los Muertos, and we're working on that, and our org is also working on grants to fund our future members, hopefully, that are having a specific period.
Do you guys know that you can't really hear you when you put your mask on and you can't read lips and it's totally muffled?
Is it muffled?
Yeah, very, very muffled.
I can hear myself.
Do you want to repeat some of that?
I have no idea what you said.
So he's reporting on the Dia de los Muertos event that EFA has coming up. And,
Michael, you want to try your microphone? Just ask.
yes, this is here. Yes. Check one.
Yeah, why don't you, Ricardo, why don't you try again on like that?
So can you hear me now? Okay. So EFA is working on the Dia de los Muertos event, and we're organizing that, and it's coming along. And also, the org is working on various grants, opportunities to see, how we can fundraise for programming that we want to do at SMB, hopefully in the future.
Okay, so that was our EFA report. I believe we have no commission member initiated agenda items for tonight. Number 11, future agenda items added by commission members. I would like to suggest one for next Arts Commission meeting, but I'll open the floor if anyone else has one first. No. So it was brought to my attention that the EPAL-PT Music Festival has decided to leave the city of Encinitas, so I thought that we should hear from staff on that one at the next meeting. So I'll make a motion to add that to the agenda for our next meeting in October. Need a motion for that? Oh, we need a motion. Okay.
Do you know where they're gonna be?
No. And one more future agenda items. Okay. Commissioner reports. Do any commissioners have items to report tonight?
Yeah.
I'm participating in your group art show that's at the PHES Hillary and Carol's band. It opened just 2 days.
I don't have a report. I just wanted to say thank you all for being here. It's nice to have involved citizenry, and these are important things we're going to be talking about for a while. So it's great to get input and see people involved and active and committed.
I would like to reiterate what James just said, because we have been busy working with city staff. For a long time, we've been saying, include us with the Arts Commission, we want to be part of this, moving forward with Pacific View. And so we are now moving forward with it, and we are part of it, and it's so wonderful to see the public be here and want to be part of this too. Because this it's just so exciting for me to see we're actually at this point where they've sent out an RFP looking for a contractor to do work, and the money is set aside to pay for it. So, I mean, those huge leaps and bounds after 10 years of pushing and hoping and pulling weeds and doing all the wonderful stuff, but not, it's like all the build, and now we're at this skip forward and making progress. It's really a wonderful time, and I thought you were all here to share with us.
Thank you, Kathleen. We're really pleased to have more people than usual, and I promise our meetings are usually a little bit more streamlined and are at home base at City Hall. So come back, please, everybody. We love having you here. We love having citizen participation at Commission for the Arts. So with that said, I'm going to adjourn tonight's meeting, September 12th at 5:57 p.m. Thank you.